Okay, we are streaming now.
All right, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Again, welcome everyone. Do we have any guests this evening other than the ones who are presenting on the ballot measures or who are about to be sworn in as alternates? If you're a guest, please raise your hand. I'm not seeing any hands up. So that will jump to the land acknowledgement. I'll ask Council Member Jeanette Wiley to read it this evening.
All right, our land acknowledgement for today. We pause to acknowledge that Solano County Democratic Central Committee of the Democratic Party sits on the land of the Miwok and Patwin people. We remember their continued connection to this region and give thanks to them for allowing us to live, work, learn, and pray in their traditional homeland. We offer our respect to their elders and to the Miwok and Patwin people of the past and the present.
Thank you. And now we do have at least one alternate to be sworn in this evening. So that is
Mike Tebow.
Yeah, so we need to pull up and see whether you use Mike or Michael, but Mike Tebow, want to go ahead and spotlight him. Okay, welcome, Mike. And
Good evening.
we're going to swear you in with the oath of office you see on the screen. So if you'll repeat after me, I state your name,
I, Mike Tebow,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter, and during such time as I hold the office of Central Committee alternate.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter, and during the time I hold the office of alternate of the Democratic Central Committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been sworn in, now you get to be sworn out, as my boss liked to say.
All right.
All right. Okay. Next item we have on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for our August 28th meeting. I believe those went out shortly after the meeting, if I remember. Do we have them? We want to display those, Tom, or we want to just proceed to the poll?
Yeah, I sent them out today too.
Okay.
I'd move that we approve. This is Paula.
This is Gian McDougall. I second.
All right. Go ahead and launch that poll then. Oh no, Yvonne, what happened to the cow?
I was told to get rid of it.
Oh no.
Not by us.
Okay.
It was by a vegetarian.
Actually, that's true.
All right, everyone vote who's eligible to vote.
Shoot.
Ten seconds left to vote. Gonna cut it off at a minute 20. Minutes are approved.
Thank you. And next we have the minutes for our September 7th meeting. We have
And yeah, I sent those out today.
okay. Do we have a motion on those minutes?
This is John McDougall, move to accept.
It's Karen
Mm.
Rogers. I second it.
All right, motion in a second. Launch that poll.
Mm. Gonna cut the poll off in 5 seconds. All right. Those minutes are approved.
All right, thank you. And moving on to our agenda, I'm sorry to announce that Congressman Garamendi will not be joining us this evening. I had a last minute or last day change of his schedule. And so I was notified late this morning that he wouldn't be able to join us. However, I do want to acknowledge that our state party secretary, Diana Love, is with us. And so if she wants to say a few words before we proceed to the business of the evening, feel free to take the floor for 2 minutes.
Thank you. And good evening, Solano. How is everyone? You all look great. So I just wanted to come and join you this evening just to give you a little bit of information and to say thank you, because I'm sure everyone is extremely busy trying to get our vice president elected and our Governor Walz. And I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to watch her speech today at the Economy Club. It was fantastic. She hit it out of the park. And there's no reason for anyone to keep asking who she is and what she stands for and what is she going to do. She made it perfectly clear in great detail. And I'm glad that she did that. She also spoke with Stephanie Rule afterward for about 30 minutes and extended to all the information that she was talking about earlier. But what I wanted you to also know about is that the California Democratic Party has on their website a one-stop shop where you can register voters. People can check their registration. They can also check their ballot to see if it got to where it's supposed to get to the Secretary of State. There's a voter guide in there. There's information about the ballot. I will put the information in the chat, but what I wanted you to know is that, and the links take you straight to the Secretary of State's website, but it's a good tool to have where you don't have to go around and try to search to try and help a voter that is looking to verify any kind of information. This is a one-stop shop, and it's on Cadem. There's two ways you can get to it. You can put in cadem.org/vote, VOTE, or you can just go to cadem.org and go up to the about, and on the drop down it says voter information. So when you have an opportunity, go there and look at that. It may assist you in helping voters as you go forward and getting them signed up and making sure that their ballots count. And how many of you were at the DNC convention? Did anybody have an opportunity to go? Oh, I see Don's hand. Did you all get to see it on the YouTube or on television live or anything?
Oh, yeah.
It was a fantastic,
Yes.
it was fantastic, but it was nothing like being there and being on the floor, where it was extremely loud, being with 23,000 people. I actually had to go back to the hotel to hear what the speakers had to say because it was so loud on the floor, and we were right in the front. So it was exciting. I'm looking forward to all the candidates up and down the ballot getting elected to assist her when she wins this, because she will win this, right? Because we're not going back. We're not going back. And so if you have any questions or anything, I will put my name and my phone number in the chat as well. Feel free to reach out to me about anything. And I'm going to stay and stick around and listen to your meeting, because this is the first time I've had the opportunity to come to your meeting, and I want to hear all the fantastic, wonderful, great things that I know that all of you are doing. And thank you on behalf of the party for what you do. We can't do any of this without all of you. So thank you. And I'm going to put information in the chat.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate you being with us this evening. Next up, we have our treasurer's report, and we'll bring that up, but go into that. But I did want to preface it by congratulating everyone who worked on the fundraising and the sign sales and all the other efforts we've been making over the last couple of months. As the results of your hard work shows up in the report that we're about to hear. So as soon as that comes up, we'll hand it over to our treasurer.
Don, I'd like to say one thing. I'm getting some questions in the chat regarding people not being able to private message. We could just talk about the fact that we have disabled private messaging based on some bad behavior before. So if you need to private message, do that on your phone, not on the Solano Democratic Central Committee's Zoom meeting.
Yes. As we discussed briefly at our special endorsement meeting on the September 7th, there was some, as Tom said, some bad behavior, some harassing behavior that occurred in our August meeting. As a result of that, we are taking steps to make this a safer, more inclusive and welcoming meeting. I do want to remind everyone that we are bound by the state party's code of conduct, and basically, without going into the lengthy details of the code of conduct, it is one, treat others as you would like to be treated, or two, if you can't do that, treat others as the way your mama raised you to treat them. So whichever one is the higher standard for you, we want you to follow that standard. So yeah, if you have private conversations you wish to engage in, use your own devices, but we want to avoid a repeat of recent unpleasantness. So are we ready to pull that report up?
Okay, Tom, do you know if you can zoom in on it at all, or?
You mean Because it's already zoomed in 200%.
Is it? Okay.
How about
There
that?
you go. That's a lot better. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I have my copy here. So it's my pleasure to voice this treasurer's report for September. So let's start with our federal account. Our credits are allocation transfer of $609.36. We have a contribution of $3,495. Our summer Pina income of $713, the Pina flowers at $40, the Pina drinks at $145, the Pina dessert at $68, and the Pina art at $50, with our debate income of $110, totaling credits of $5,230.36. And when we add that to our beginning balance of $1,376.49, we have a balance of $6,606.85. Moving on to our debits, River City Business Services at $329.82, with the our storage unit at the $136.99, Harris Wall Signs at $608. Act Blue merchant fees of $168.25, which brings our debits to $1,243.06. And then subtracting the credits from the debits, we end up with a federal ending balance of $5,365.70. So let's move on to our state account. The beginning balance of $1,909.56. with our credits being a contribution of $825, the watch party income of $15, and then a Pania income of $500, bringing a total of $1,340. And adding that to our beginning balance, we have a balance of $3,249.56. Our debits are Act Blue merchant fees of $13.44 with the allocation transfer that we sent to our federal account of $609.36. Total debts being $622.80. Adding the beginning balance and subtracting the debits, we end up with it's $2,626, I'm sorry, 76 cents. So adding the federal with the state account, we have a total of $7,990.55. So also, just to give information on the fundraising committee, the Pina totals were a total of $3,053. And we will also be adding in whatever our online purchases were, which were after the cutoff for our treasurer's report. And in addition, I just want to announce that we would like to see checks written for state and federal clubs, committees, organization, etc. In addition to sending them to the River City Business Services, to send a copy to me, the treasurer at SolanoDemocrats.com. That way, when we're trying to see where we are, I'll have a copy of those checks and know that they exist prior to them going into on our balance sheets, so that I know that they're coming. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? All right. Seeing none, we will jump into the presentations on ballot measures to be considered for endorsement. We had two responses come in, one for Measure E from Vacaville, and then we had the three Benicia City measures were responded to as one block. The remainder did not respond. So we'll start off with Measure E, and the spokesman for that is Adam Rich, and she's spotlighted. And then we are providing each presenter this evening 2 minutes for an opening statement, followed by up to 7 minutes for questions from the membership. There will be no closing statement. I've got my timer all set to go. So I'll hit start when you start speaking.
All right. Thanks, everybody. My name is Adam Rich, and I am the vice chair of the Yes on E Friends of Vacaville Schools Committee. That's how I'm here tonight in that capacity. I also work for the school district, but tonight I'm serving in that capacity because I'm advocating for this measure. So just some facts about Measure E. It's a general obligation bond that would fund school facilities, projects, and capital improvements for the Vacaville Unified School District. The measure is a tax of $48 per $100,000 of assessed property value in the Vacaville Unified School District. Really, the thing that pushed us to go out for a bond this year was, the fact that we're unique in the state of California right now, and the fact that we're growing as a district. We're not in declining enrollment. We are adding students, adding a lot of students right now. We added 300 students to our district in the last 2 years. We are up another 200 kids this year, and we are slated to add about 500 more kids by 2029. So we're running out of classroom space. Our schools are overcrowded, and this bond would fund the construction of a new school. It's something the district is committed to, and all the folks at the district and the board have told us that. So we would also use these funds to address several of the critical modernization projects. We have some very old schools. We have a facilities master plan in the district, and our old schools need to be modernized. The old schools in Vacaville, I think the oldest one was built in 1949, and they're just aging, and we need to stay on top of things like fixing leaky roofs. We need to repair asphalt. We need to do kind of those things that you don't see, but that can really impact student learning, HVAC systems, all of those things behind the scenes, including improving instructional environments so that they're safe and welcoming for all the kids. The third strand of this bond is projects that would enhance school safety and security. And so that's our bond. And if anyone has any questions, I'd love to hear those. I think my timer went off there. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, if you wish to expand on your third strand of security,
Sure.
I'll ask that as our first question.
Okay. So we were able to do some of the safety work in our last bond measure, Measure A. There's still a lot more to do. We need to add additional security cameras. There's strategic fencing projects in the works that we would like to do. We've also found some value in doing some things with our facilities, like moving offices that were maybe in a part of the campus where if we could move that office up to the front of the school, it would be a safer point of entry, those types of things. And if I could just to say, we've got kind of broad endorsement across the community. Our whole city council, folks on the left, folks on the right, the Teachers Association in the school district, SEIU 1021, which is our classified staff association. We've got an endorsement from the Central Labor Council, NAPA Solano, and just folks across the spectrum. If you're connected to Vacaville and you've driven through Vacaville, especially the east part of town, you've seen that growing area, and we have to address that. I see a question from Mr. Silva. Thank you for that question, Mike. Can I go ahead and just answer that here?
Let me read it out for people.
Okay.
How will STEM education and addressing inequity be addressed with this bond?
So one of the projects in our master plan is a new science building or a STEM building at Vacaville High School. The science labs at Vacaville High School. I was a former science teacher, so this is kind of near and dear to my heart. But the science labs at Vacaville High School were built in 1952, and they have not seen a lot of upgrading. And as you know, we've learned a lot about science and technology since 1952, and so that's a big need for the district. And with that, we would also look at our career tech ed facilities. They're some of our most popular programs. If you're connected to education and you've heard of CTE in the last 4 or 5 years, these are programs like our automotive tech, building trades, culinary arts. We have medical science programs in the district, and they need classrooms that are not just about, they have to be bigger spaces. They have to have more equipment. more, sort of utilities and those kinds of things. So we'd be upgrading those spaces as well.
Okay, next question. Does the bond go strictly to facilities?
Yes, by law, all bond funds have to be spent on school facilities and capital improvements. They cannot be used for teacher salaries or administrative salaries. And there is oversight with this bond, so there'll be a citizens oversight committee that monitors that as well.
Will the expanded charter school benefit from the bond?
So I assume we're talking about Kairos. So Kairos Public Schools occupies one of VUSD's campuses that VUSD is responsible for maintaining and for keeping up to date. So that's the campus on Elm Street. And so upgrading that campus is part of our facilities master plan. There's some very old portables and lots of old utilities and other things that that site would need. This would not apply to the new campus that Kairos has built east of Leisure Town.
And next, I'm not sure whether it's a comment or a question, so I'll phrase it as a question. Will this bond help upgrade TK bathrooms?
Yes, 100%. We need more of those. And I got to tell you, TK has been such a wonderful thing for the district. If you want to see something great, go into a TK classroom and watch those teachers doing that magic. They do need better facilities, and we're absolutely committed to that with this bond.
Okay, and let me ask, what happens if this bond should fail? What will be the result to the district?
It's going to be very difficult for us to grow with our community. I think it's a question for the whole community, not just the school district, because Vacaville is growing, and so it's going to be hard for us to grow together. We've really partnered with the city on this. We've had some really good conversations around the location of a possible new school, working with the city, working with developers on that. And so it's going to be hard for the city to grow, and our classrooms are just going to be more impacted. I mean, this isn't an issue of one school in one part of town. It's really 5-6 elementary schools that are really getting to that level where it's concerning, and we need to add more space. And this gives us the opportunity to do that. So it's going to be a tough situation as far as that impact of school crowding and class size. We're also going to see those old facilities just continue to deteriorate. That's what we're going to see.
All right. Does anyone have any further questions on this bond measure? I'm not seeing anything in chat. So I guess you sold it beautifully. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, John. I appreciate the time, everyone. Thank you for all you do.
All right. And moving on, for measures F, G, and H, City of Benicia, these measures will produce a 0.5-cent sales tax, adopt a city charter, which in turn will allow the city to adopt a real property transfer tax. And speaking on those is Mayor Young. And as I said with the other gentleman, you'll have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Thanks, Don. I'm not sure I can cover all 3 in 2 minutes, but I'll give it a shot. Measure F is a citizen-driven initiative for improving our roads and streets. It's a 0.5-cent sales tax. And because it received the required number of signatures, it was approved by the county voter registrar and was placed on the ballot for November. Our roads are really bad. They're the second worst in Solano County, just slightly better than Vallejo. And if somebody asks what would happen if it doesn't pass, well, we can get to that later, but I'll take my time to move on to Measure G and H. Measure G is they're tied together. They're sort of companion piece. Only charter cities are allowed to institute a transfer tax. We are a general law city. So Measure G would create the ability to become what's called a limited charter or a skinny charter. So the measure itself says that we would become a charter city strictly and only for the purpose of the imposition of a transfer tax. They both have to pass in order for them to become effective. Measure H is really the guts of the issue. It's a transfer tax on real estate sales. It's a progressive tax that starts at $4 per thousand on properties sold under $2 million, $6 per thousand on properties between 2 and 10 million, and $8 per thousand on sales over 10 million. And I think what's important to look at here is that it's really a way of trying to secure Benicia's future. We have all kinds of, we're an older city with old facilities, and we have not budgeted anything for maintenance or improvement on these facilities. You can certainly point the finger at past councils for not doing it. Oops.
All right. I will just add for your first question to finish your thought on.
Thank you. So we've got old facilities like the Camel Barn and the Clock Tower and City Hall that have not had any money spent on them, and no money is budgeted for their upkeep, and they're starting to deteriorate. I think what people need to look at is the fact that we're going to have growth. We have a builder's remedy project, the Sino property, that's going to generate probably 1,100 houses, and when that happens, and there's a transfer tax in place that would generate about $4 million to the city. The other big possible interest is Valero. There is, if and when Valero ever decides that they want to sell, and there's no indication that they're doing so now, but I think it's something that we need to think about putting in place. They're currently valued at $2 billion. And if they sold, it would be sold to another oil company. If this transfer tax is in place, that would generate a tax or a payment to the city of $16 million. Now that's real money. And it would dwarf the amount that would be collected from real estate sales in town, which run up between 200 to 300 a year and might generate $1 million a year. So what we're trying to do is plan for the future and address all of the issues that have not been addressed for a long time. And I realize nobody wants to pay more taxes, but I think the right question is, if you're not going to do this, what are you going to do? If you're a city council in the future and you look down the road and you look backwards and you say, this city council in 2024 knew that this was a possibility, yet they did nothing. Why are we going to continue to kick the can down the road when we have a chance to actually make real progress? So I'll stop there.
I think you covered it fairly well, but is there anything you wish to add about how the transfer tax works? And if you're done with that, then who endorses measures G and H?
Thank you. Thanks for the question, Don. Yeah, so the measure has been endorsed by the entire city council, the labor council, police and fire unions. Most significantly, I think the realtors have come out in favor of it, because realtors understand that unless we can both fix the roads and deal with a lot of the problems in our parks and the things that are looking kind of shabby, people are going to be less willing to buy houses in Benicia. And while some people think that this is an exit tax because we're going to, it's a one-time closing cost, that at the average price of $880,000 would be, something like $3,800. Another way it does not apply in the case of divorce or death. People can pass on the properties to their in-laws or their heirs. It only applies when a property sells. So if somebody wants to take a house and rent it out after they inherit it, that's fine. The tax does not apply. And we've tried to build in enough exceptions so that it is not really onerous for anybody, and it will be treated as any other closing costs to be paid by either the seller or the buyer, or split or negotiated in some fashion. But it's a one-time closing cost.
All right, and next question, can you repeat what the amounts are for the transfer tax?
Yes, so for properties under $2 million, it's $4 per thousand, or 0.4%, or 0.04%. For properties between 2 and 10 million, it's $6 per thousand. And for properties over 10 million, it's $8 per thousand.
Right. I am not seeing any other questions in chat. So it sounds like you did a good job at selling it. And thank you for coming in and representing on these measures.
Good. I appreciate the opportunity and hope you guys will endorse it so that we can add you guys to the list of the other entities that are behind this.
Someone dropped a question at the last second. Is there a website?
There is, I believe, for Measure F. I'm not really connected to Measure F because it's a citizen thing. And the problem is with G&H, there is no campaign for it. I am essentially, I'm running for re-election, and I am the advocate for these two taxes. So people who want to support the taxes are really, they need to support and make a contribution to my campaign. We're the ones who are, what I'm doing is I'm highlighting these measures on all my literature and my signs, probably to the detriment of my actual re-election. If you look at a sign, the whole top half is for Benicia's future, vote yes on FG&H. And then down below, oh yeah, vote for Steve Young for mayor. Because I think this is the last time I'm going to be running. And I think this is so critical for the future that I'm spending whatever political capital I have trying to get these things passed. But no, there is no website for G&H.
All right, thank you. And we have someone has dropped in the website for Measure F in the chat. So great. So thank you again.
Sure.
All right. Moving on, we did not receive responses on the remaining measures. So we do not plan to take them up this evening unless I hear any action request to the contrary by the members, but I did want to provide you the information anyway on those measures. So unless anyone wishes to advocate, Monica Brown, I see your hands up.
So if I made a motion that said that I think we should support Dixon, Sassoon, and Rio Vista sales tax, would that be considered in order based on what you just stated?
I think it would be for the membership to make that call. Traditionally, we do not. We do not hear from endorsed candidates unless they speak. In the past, we have on occasion taken up ballot measures without them presenting to us. However, I'd want the membership to authorize that first. Jeanette.
I also see Jeanette, and Jeanette, I'm happy to add Travis to that motion. Forgot about that. Sorry. And if I may continue on that, I think all four of them, if I have a second, are very important. I know I can speak to at least three, with Jeanette maybe finishing up with Travis. But that would be a prerogative if somebody would second that. And then if we voted on bringing him forward.
All right. Jeanette, your hand's up. Oh, Jeanette, be frozen at the moment. Glenn.
Oh, I was just going to add there that, yeah, these are all very critical revenue measures to consider. I'm not the most versed on the precedent on this with regards to the measures. And so I do want to be mindful of that. But I would emphasize that in principle, they're all important. We know what Benicia has on the line, and it's a similar story with Measure S to sustain their critical services and infrastructure and jobs in that city in Sassoon. But the L&M measures in Fairfield are pretty vital too and have garnered a lot of...
Excuse me, point of personal privilege. We have not voted to whether or not we're going to even do this.
I know, but I recognized him, Monica, so...
Okay, I apologize. Since it froze, I did not hear that, so my apologies.
Yeah. So I don't know whether he was leading up to seconding the motion or not, but...
Well, Well, I was emphasizing that there's definitely value in those, but I kind of wanted to hear more from the body about what they're comfortable proceeding on for those other measures.
Okay, Jeanette, your hand is up and hopefully you're not frozen this time.
No, I just went off. So so there's a motion on the floor right now. Is that where we are?
That is what I heard was a motion to consider what was it, JK, RNS.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
Yeah. Well, I will second it so we can vote on it. It seems a little odd that we would vote without hearing from everyone, but I don't know what happened to R because they should have spoke, but they didn't, because it is really imperative for us to get the funding for Travis. So I was just going to say, if we didn't vote, I just want people to know, speak to people you know that live in those cities. So I guess that's where I am kind of, and I can talk to Measure R briefly if there's time later on.
Okay. Karen.
I would also say Measure K is important for Rio Vista, so it is something that citizens really need. So with regard to our roads, as you know, Highway 12 is a big traffic mess, for lack of a better word, for the area. So we really need that. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that the people of Rio Vista are looking forward to that. So.
Okay, my understanding, if I correct you, if I heard a motion and a second to consider again, J, K, R, and S. And a second for that. So is there discussion on that motion? Again, we have been inconsistent in our approach to this in the past. Whether or not we require ballot measures to present before we consider whether to endorse them.
Excuse me, I missed who seconded it. My screen froze.
I heard Pat Smith second.
I still missed that.
I second it. This is Pat Toast Smith.
Okay.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to consider those. Is there any discussion? Or have we vamped enough for Tom to have a poll on considering those items? As listed on the agenda, the city of Dixon would be a 1 cent sales tax. The city of Rio Vista is a 1 cent sales tax. Travis is a $65 million bond measure. And the city of Sassoon is adding an additional 3/4 cent sales tax to their existing local tax. And that's the sum of my information on those. Jeanette, your hand is up again.
Right. So when we were looking at the bylaws, was there anything in our bylaws that would preclude us from doing the, making a motion on something that wasn't actually presented?
Let me confirm on our language related to ballot measures.
Paula has her hand up.
Paula.
I'm not aware of anything in our bylaws that would preclude that.
Lynette has her hand up.
Lynette?
Yeah, I was on the same page as Paula. The last time we did anything on this kind of stuff is that they have an opportunity to present. It was more proactive as opposed to prohibitive if it's not presented. So I think we're in order to move forward if the motion is put. I think launch a poll would be a good way to do it, though.
And I just want to be clear, this is a motion about whether or not we can proceed with an endorsement.
Correct.
Okay.
And if I could, just to be sure, we're considering, this is a vote to consider measures J, K, R, and S without a request from the individuals involved in those measures, correct?
Correct.
Without a request, or even though there's no presentation?
The questionnaire is the request, and we didn't receive one.
The language is, despite all of our work on ballot measures, is ambiguous as to whether they must request it to be considered. It simply says that we shall invite the proponents and opponents who have requested endorsement to appear before us. It does not say that's the only circumstance we'll consider endorsement. So,
Yeah, because it sort of makes a difference.
yeah.
So what was the motion, Monica?
I have the motion was to consider measures J, K, R, and S.
That is correct.
For endorsement.
Yes.
If it is voted to consider, then we would have a discussion and then we would vote as to up or down.
Okay.
Right. So are we ready to proceed with a poll, Tom?
Yes, we are launching it now. Okay, gonna be ending in 5 seconds. Motion passes.
All right. So Monica, your hand's up.
Yes, thank you, as the maker of the motion. So let me just go through this quickly. I know Jeanette can speak on Travis better than I. Sassoon is almost bankrupt. They need whatever funds they can possibly get in. Rio Vista has a lot of issues, and I know that Karen can speak to that also. I don't think you're going to be doing much with Highway 12 with what few you get through. I thought it was more just to improve your surface streets and stuff like that, or whatever you choose to do.
It is.
Yeah, and then Dixon also. So everybody in Solano County is hurting money-wise on so many issues. I want us to at least be on record as understanding that need. And nobody likes taxes, but I'm going to share with you guys right now. I don't know where the county's going to come up with money to fix things. Just sharing. It's not our job to take care of the cities. It's like if you guys can't balance budget, such as cities, Fairfield's 20 million in the hole, Sassoon 7 million in the hole. So anyway, thank you for just vote yes, guys. It's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Jeanette, are you in a position to speak at all on the measure R?
Yes, I went to the community forum the other night and we tried it 2 years ago. We got 50%. We need 55%. We did a parcel tax a couple of years before that. So we haven't had an increase. Currently, there's 2 CFDs. So about 40% of the people, and I'm one of those, is paying for the money for Travis. And then, so there have a resolution to dissolve those CFDs and then have this bond measure. So then all people would pay a fair share. And it's $60 per 100,000 assessed evaluation. And that's the maximum. So they wouldn't start with that. And mostly it's to repair and upgrade their schools. Like Vacaville, we're moving 6th grade to the middle school, and they have to do some work there to move 6th grade. And mostly it's just to take care of the facilities. You know, our newest school is almost 30 years old, and it's really needed. And the committee needs help. So I would say, could we please support that? And the big thing is, tell people that you know that live in the Travis district, because the voters are going to make the decision.
Karen, I see your hand up. You're muted.
Unmute. There we go. The voters are going to make the decision. The big thing in Rio Vista is, of course, Highway 12 is taken care of by the state. But what happens is that when there's a backup at the bridge, when the bridge is up, all those large transfer trucks that come through there come through the city, and they come through the city streets. And so they do not, there's no way, there's no monetization for that. They don't pay for those roadways, but they tear them up. So we are in desperate need to have the roads done, and that's what Measure M is going to do. So with the support of the Central Committee, their recommendation, I think that the people of Rio Vista would pay a little bit more attention and raise it to an eye level of consideration, instead of thinking of it as another tax. So this is why I'm asking for your support. Thank you.
Not seeing any other hands up. Does anyone wish to divide the question on these 4 measures and vote separately on them? Or do we want to have this as one motion when it comes to us?
I have 3 polls set up, one for Vacaville, one for Medici, and one for these 4. The individual questions each measure.
Okay, so they would answer separately for each measure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, that makes it easy then.
But it is 3 polls though, because I did one for Vacaville, one for Medici, and I just did one for the ones that didn't reply.
Unless anyone has anything else they wish to bring forward on these or other ballot measures. Tom, will you launch the first? Jeanette, is your hand up?
I just want to make sure that R was on there when he said, so I want to make sure that Travis is on there too.
Yeah, Travis is on there.
Okay, perfect. That's it. Thanks.
Do we need a motion to pass for these?
Well, these I think we are. If someone wishes to reiterate the motion, I'm taking Monica's request to put them on the table as a motion to support them. But if you want to be precise, Monica, you want to move to endorse them?
Yes, I'm happy to move to support the last poll that was just stated, which is Travis's school district, Benicia, no, I'm sorry, my bad. Dixon, Rio Vista, Sassoon. And yes, definitely a support. That's what I kind of got in terms of moving forward with here with, okay,
All right.
so yeah, okay, really good.
And we have a second.
I'll second it again.
All right. Has seconded it. So let's launch the first poll.
So use the abstain as no preference. I messed that one up. I used the regular poll. 10 seconds left. Okay, we are supporting Vacaville USD school bond.
All right.
Here's the Benicia. Note there are 3 polls on here that you would have a chance to vote for. I'll leave this one up until 1:30 to give everyone a chance. Ten seconds. We are supporting the Benicia measures. And now here is the last one for the J, K, right? J, K, R, and S. Please note that there is a lowercase s where it's supposed to be a capital S, but it still means measure S.
Jeanette, I see your hand up.
So are we going to talk later on about the door hangers, or will these votes be reflected on the door hangers, or is that ship already sailed?
That ship has sailed.
Okay, that's what I was figuring it had. Okay, thanks.
We will have to share our message in other means.
Sorry. 10 seconds.
Unfortunately, was the downside of having so many Democratic candidates filing, as we planned for our endorsement meetings, was judging the members' capacity for sitting through meetings as part of our process.
All right, so looks like we're supporting all of these measures as well.
Good.
Excellent. And we will get the appropriate communications out for those. And thank you, everyone, for your diligence and working through these.
And Jeanette, if you could send me a message on who to contact for the Vacaville one, I mean the Travis one, just to make sure that they have the correct info, because we can supply some support for them.
Okay, thanks. I will.
Okay. Next item we have is the fundraising committee reporting on this summer paella and future events. I know we talked a lot of how successful it was financially, but it was also a success for those who attended. Vernil, Carrie, who's giving the report on this one?
Hi, this is Carrie. I'm under the weather. So I would love for Vernile to give her comments and thank all of our wonderful volunteers who helped us set up. Jeanette, we couldn't have had hot food without you. Kathy Carriage came really early and helped set up. Tom did everything online and came and helped set up. We appreciate Karen and her crew working the door. It was really a tremendous group effort. And I'd like to get Verniel's comments, and then Tom, if you could talk about what we made on the online auction.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Jeanette Wiley too was there setting up too.
She said, I thought it was a very nice event. It was laid back, but everyone was friendly and we enjoyed the evening. It was very nice as far as I'm saying about the recent fundraiser. The future fundraiser, if I can speak on that now, proposed. I put proposed because it has not been approved. I've been looking on researching about a crab feed. I called a crab supplier today, and he told me that right now the crabs are coming in from Alaska and Canada running between $12 and $14 a pound. He recommended, which means a crab feed would cost between $9,000 to $900 to $1,200 for just the crab. You know, that's not the side dishes, the alternative dishes and everything else that comes with it, just for the crab. I'm just sharing this information. I'm not looking for a vote or anything. He recommended that we wait until the local season open, because those crabs may be much cheaper than trying to have them imported. That's what I want to share. And the reason I'm looking in crab feeds, because that was that's a common request about, can we go back to crab feeds? So I'm looking into that. Any questions? Okay.
I'm not seeing any hands up, but I do want to echo the public sentiment. The crab feed was historically a very successful event for us. And so I would just encourage you to communicate with Justin or whomever to get a sense of when the local crab season will be, and then look for booking venues within that season, because I think it would be a good tradition for us to resume. Jeanette, your hand's up.
I just wanted to say we would need 4 to 5 times the volunteers we had on this one. The volunteers here work very hard, but we would need a whole lot more for a crab feed and just a whole lot more, ticket sales and things like that. But I do want to also give a shout out to Christine Gilpin Hayes, who's running for city council, because it was at her home, and they also helped with the setup and helped with the dishes and helped with, some of the appetizers and things. So it was really a great event and for her to help out. So I appreciated her help. I wanted to just recognize that.
All right. I quite agree. She went above and beyond, and it was an excellent venue, and hopefully she will be appreciative of our efforts on her behalf in this campaign, so that we can impose on her hospitality again in the future. Tom, your hand's up.
Yeah, I just wanted to answer Carrie's call out for the online auction. We've made the deposit that's going into the bank is $1,020.34. That is after the fees by the auction site, as well as the bank, right? That does all the transfer. So that's how much is added to the total for what we got.
How much was that again, Tom?
$1,020.34.
Okay, thanks.
Good. Awesome. Next, I put on the legislation committee. Bonnie, do you have a report to give us this month, sort of wrapping up the season?
Yeah, today some exciting things happened. The governor signed into law a package Make Polluters Pay of 3 bills that we endorsed all three. AB 1866, which is the idle well remediation bill, which would speed up permanently remediating or plugging wells that just sit idle without and can continue to pollute and cause risk to the environment. So we have 130 idle wells here in Solano County. So this is something that directly affects us. The second bill that he signed into law was AB 3233, which gives local municipalities the ability to prohibit oil and gas activity within their jurisdictions. So that means that, a county or a city could say they do not want oil or gas, drilling or exploration within their municipalities' boundaries. So that was number 2. The third one was specific to Assemblymember Bryan's district down in Southern California. He is in the district of one of the biggest oil fields in the state, and that is AB 20. I believe it's I'm looking for the number 2716. Which will, if oil or gas activity is within a sensitive receptor, which is 3,200 feet away from hospitals, homes, schools, daycare centers, and so forth, if there are low producing wells, meaning they're keeping them just open, but they're not really producing, that they're subject, the operators of the wells are fined if they daily, if they keep those wells just underproducing. I mean, if they're producing, that's one thing, but if they're just keeping them open and they're not producing, this will be an incentive for them to either remediate them, which is what they probably should do if they are low producing. So just want to share that. I will put into the chat the governor's press conference where he signed these bills into law. He talks a lot about the oil and gas industry and how they've been price gouging. And he has called for a special session, which I believe starts tomorrow, to look at the whole issue of oil and gas in California. So that will be starting tomorrow, and there will be certain other bills that'll come up. But again, I'll share that link for the video YouTube of his press conference down in Southern California. And I will also share our other bill list, the updated version. There have been a couple of bills that have been vetoed, some that have been chaptered. And I won't go through all of them. We have a fair amount of bills, but I do have an up-to-date list, and I'll put that in the chat as well. I'm open to taking any questions through the chair if anyone has any.
Okay, I'm not seeing anyone's hand up in chat, so thank you, Bonnie. And I would encourage you, of course, also send the bill list out via email so everyone gets it, not just those who are present tonight.
The only other thing I would say is if you're so inclined, please thank the governor for putting these were bills that many people worked on, a lot of environmental justice communities, a lot of different people working very strong on these bills, and he did sign them, and it was really a lot of work that went into it, but a great accomplishment. Okay, thank you.
Indeed. Thank you for all your hard work this year. And the members of your committee as well. I know you've spent a lot of time working on the bills and reviewing them. Next item, I put on the agenda for October meeting, the potential delay in our start time, because as you may be aware, the Vice President has accepted the debate for October 23rd. That's on the calendar. The other guy has not, at least as of last night. I didn't see anything hit my feed today. But if that debate were to occur, I would imagine we'd rather watch the debate than be in a central committee meeting. So
Yes.
I'd like to get the membership's feedback on provisionally delaying our start time until after the debate is over, if that debate does in fact occur on the 23rd. So thoughts?
Of course. This is Monica. Debates are much more fun to watch together.
Any other thoughts, feedback? I would
I think it's a good idea.
I would entertain a motion to delay the start of our October meeting until 8 p.m. if the debate occurs as scheduled.
I move.
I
Second it, Pat. I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, but Kathy can figure out which of you made the motion, which of you seconded.
Kathy, give it to Pat.
Pat and Monica. Okay.
We're a team.
So I think 8 p.m. will be late enough.
Do you want to poll for this? What is it that we're deciding?
This is provisional approval to postpone the start of our October meeting until 8 p.m. if there is a debate that night.
You mean the one that Donald Trump has said no to?
Yeah, but he said no to things in the past. So I would rather us be prepared just in case. So that's why I'm saying provisionally, should it in fact happen. So once you're ready, we'll launch that poll.
And so it's till 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Can I put orange minutes?
I love you, Tom.
Right. Awesome. Thank you all. And we will.
I should have put that we will postpone if he grows a spine.
All right.
That's unlikely to happen.
Next item. I don't know if we want to be mentioning cats, Anna. They might get eaten or something. Public comment is the next item on the agenda. This is for guests to the meeting. All comments are limited to 2 minutes. And additional time may not be granted. Comment period cannot exceed 30 minutes. This is for guests, not announcements yet. So
you are going to mention Tuesday, right?
Yes, we have announcements coming soon. Right, Tom, you're not a guest.
No, I'm just getting in line for announcements.
All right, cool. Then having no guests raising their hand, we're moving on to announcements. So first announcement I do have is, well, I have several announcements. First announcement is, yes, as of this evening, the door hangers are in. And we will be making the distributions to the various city hosts, repositories, whatever you wish to call them, in the next day or two. We've already started reaching out to those who had volunteered to come pick them up. Brichette Hunley has them. So we will be getting those out and giving you all the gory details within the next day or two on when you can pick them up for your candidates and do your thing. Next item, we are having a watch party booked for October 1st, which is, believe it or not, next week, to watch Governor Walz go up against the fabulist from Ohio. Same location at the Denny's restaurant in Cordelia. Be there, find out what outrageous things get said at this debate.
What else to make up, huh?
And we'll have a good time. Hopefully it'll be at least as entertaining as the last debate was. So that's the big news for those two events. And I've been sending out also, we've had Congressman Thompson is organizing bus trips to help canvass in targeted districts in California. If you are not working on a local campaign and you have the time, please sign up and participate in those. I'm sure those candidates would appreciate it. And now we jump to Tom for announcements.
This isn't so much an announcement as it is a story. I went out of town last week. I was out for a while, trying to keep up, but it was very busy. But I wanted to say that I wore my Kamala Harris band that Don, you gave me with pride, and I had many more people comment in the positive and like say yay Kamala at a huge Microsoft convention. There were about 8,000 people than anyone else, and I had a Kamala Harris hat as well as a t-shirt that I wore one day, and so it was nice to see support and everyone feeling empowered to vocalize that support. Only a few grumbles from people who I assume support the weirdos, but I think, it's important that we remember that there's plenty of people that are supporting Kamala Harris and don't buy into polls, believe in votes.
Yeah, absolutely. Although that said, we still have to believe and act as if we're, 2 points behind and work our tails off, because you don't want the election to be close enough to be stolen again. So, Jan McDougall, see your hand up.
The Sankofa Dems co-sponsored the Harris Walz headquarter opening in Vallejo.
Oh, great.
And the initiative was led by Solano Napa Bawapa, and members from the Central Committee attended, and it was really well attended and received. It was an amazing and very inspirational event, and the community is warmly welcome to come and volunteer, as are people from the Central Committee. The Sankofa endorsement candidate interviews are going to happen on Wednesday, October the 2nd. And thanks to everyone who came out to support the headquarters opening. There's lots of work to be done.
All right, thank you. Let me look. Seeing no other hands, I just want to say to all of you, make what time you can to help our endorsed candidates all throughout the county. I'm sure they'll appreciate if you can walk for them, phone for them, whatever else they're doing that you can do to help out. And I will remind our endorsed candidates, if you do have walks, events, phone banks, other campaign activities, please send the notices to either the secretary or myself so that we can forward them out on your behalf and share that information. Glenn, your hand's up.
Yeah, just wanted to remind everybody about an event that went out. Of course, information went out on this within the last day or so. 8:30 a.m. Saturday, Willsey-Wood High School, where there's big labor and community allies mobilization, of course, for many of those Dem and jointly labor endorsed candidates and measures in Vacaville, working to be out there, of course, at scale and work to, of course, not have authoritarian inroads over there in Vacaville, but have good, Dem and labor candidates and measures succeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
What high school is it again?
Willsey-Wood.
Awesome. All right. Thank you all. And then the next final item I have is adjournment, and I want to adjourn tonight's meeting in honor of two Democratic stalwarts. The first is former Solano County Democratic Central Committee member Berkey Worrell. As I said, when I got the news earlier this month, I missed the initial word of his passing in August. Thanks to Supervisor Monica Brown for sharing that information. Berkey, I did some digging, and according to my records, which may not be complete, but Berkey was a member of the Central Committee from 1996 to 2016. He served as treasurer at least twice, from 1998 to 2000, and then for a period in 2011, he was the chair of the Central Committee from 2002 to 2006. Berkey also was a long time member of the State Credentials Committee. And those of us who went to convention would see him every convention manning those registration booths and helping people get registered or sort out whether or not they were eligible to be registered and so forth. He was also a career police officer for the Vallejo PD. He was a member of the Vallejo School Board. He was an active member of the Vallejo Police Union. And I believe he was an officer in many capacities, including their president or chair, whatever their title was. So very active labor member, very active member of the community, and a very active Democrat. And then the other is the news just broke, I think it was yesterday, if not the day before. Former Sacramento Central Labor Council Executive Secretary Bill Camp passed away. Bill Camp was the executive secretary for Sac Central Labor for 15 years, from 1999 to 2014. Was living proof that progressives and labor can inhabit the same body. He was a very active voice in lifting up historically marginalized and excluded communities in the Sacramento region. He has a special place in my heart for all the work that Sac Central Labor Council did for Marico in the 2008 campaign, and what he did for decades in support of labor, in support of Democrats, in support of progressives. He was a genuine titan of the community, and his loss will be sorely felt. Glenn, I don't know if you had a chance to work with Bill at all, but if you did, you want to add?
No, I think you did it real justice there, Don. I mean, I came into the movement really around the time that he was no longer with the council as its leader over in Sacramento, but still stayed seemingly almost equally active out there across the across the region and beyond, and actually being a true believer in the collaboration of labor with progressive spaces, but also engaging in the international labor movement too. And so he will truly be missed.
And then I thought I saw Monica's hand up earlier. I don't know if you were planning on speaking to Berkey or not, or
I adjourned for 3 people. Mike Stanley, a mother that passed away, and then of course Berkey. So he still has a brother and a couple nieces, and we'll find an address and send the family the document that we send out. So yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
all right, folks. Unless there's anything else that anyone wishes to add, I will entertain the motion to go ahead and adjourn tonight's meeting.
So moved.
All right.
Second, third, fourth.
All right, folks. Thank you for indulging us this evening, and please get out there and do the work for the next almost 6 weeks. And we will see you at the debate, if not before.
And remember to hug your cats.
No, because I'm so mega allergic to them.
But there is a lawsuit. There's a lawsuit against him about that. A group from
I hope so.
Yeah,
From
no, there
Amy.
is. It just came out today.
Oh, I hadn't heard that.
American
Yeah,
folk.
yeah, and it's pushing for criminal charges.
Defamation and slander.
Yep.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Monica, they
Right.
have hairless
Good night.
cats. I think she's gone. Okay. Well,
Good night.
it passed. We're adjourned. I'm going to bed. Good night.
Good night.
Feel better, Tom.